told you a couple of hours ago that yesterday afternoon, the school that we have been talking about for a few weeks now, Broadview-Thomson, K through 8, Seattle Public Schools, went into a lockdown because somebody saw one of the homeless people. There's an encampment on Seattle school property adjacent to the school. Seattle schools refuse to let the city of Seattle do a sweep of this encampment, and we know the impending danger that this poses to kids. They've told the kids they can only enter and exit the school from the door the furthest from the homeless encampment. We know from the sweeps of homeless encampments, whether they be at Cal Anderson or Miller Park, that there are always heroin, meth, weapons, all kinds of problems and issues. People who are mentally ill, people who are drug addicted. And the Seattle schools, bizarrely, have chosen to put our children in danger instead of doing the right thing and sweeping the encampment. Now, a gun was spotted yesterday. It turns out it was a pellet gun, but that doesn't change that the kids are in danger. And one parent who was sounding the alarm on this several days ago, I heard Ryle Goodrich on national television talking about seeing a samurai sword at that encampment. And Ryle Goodrich joins us live here on the Dori Monson Show. I appreciate you coming on with me, sir. Thank you for your time this afternoon.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on and helping me get this message out there. I just don't think people know.
What is your message? Because first of all, you sounded the alarm, the clarion call, several days ago about the samurai sword and other weapons that you saw as you were just kind of walking the grounds adjacent to your kid's school. Mm-hmm. What was your reaction when you heard about a gun being spotted in a lockdown yesterday?
Well, of course, that it was completely avoidable and unnecessary, and that our school board needs to have this encampment removed immediately. I've been saying that we had a murder down the street 3 years ago. The whole school went into lockdown, and as far as everyone was concerned inside the school, there was a gunman inside the school killing students. Don't know what's happening during these lockdowns, right? So it's a very traumatic event for the children, even if nothing even happens on school property. So, we know we've already seen this happen. We know this is going to happen again in the future, and it's just a terrible mistake our school board.
Yeah, and I'll get back to how bizarre the school board is acting, but tell me your personal story. So I heard you talking about that you were just kind of walking the grounds adjacent to the school. What kind of things did you see, Ra?
Okay, yeah. So first of all, I have no idea why this is here. I feel like I'm in the twilight zone, right? That this is allowed. So I don't understand, and see what's going on for myself. So I try to go through every night, which my wife is not crazy about. And one night, it was like a week ago, there was a samurai sword, just leaning up against a tent. And so I called that in. The police showed up 2.5 hours later, had it confiscated. The next night I go through, and I'm not there for long periods of time, just 3 minutes. There's this guy in the middle of the trail with this throwing axe, tossing it at this stump, repeatedly hitting it. And then 2 days after that, there was a parks worker who was in there. He was attacked by people that live in the encampment. The police had to come and deal with that situation. I think they removed 2 of the campers. So it's just like another weapons or violent event every day this weekend. This is the worst thing. My neighbor this weekend was picking up his kid at tennis near there, and he sees these guys bring out these military canister filled with ammo and knives right out from a tent to the car to go off and sell it or something. And he just couldn't believe, this was happening there.
And do you have one kid at the school, or do you have multiple?
Right now I've got one kindergartner there. His older brother goes to a different school now.
Okay. From a parent's perspective, I mean, you talked about the twilight zone. I cannot figure out the mentality of the Seattle School Board, which, as you know, no doubtedly know, a few weeks ago, they sent out a memo to the city of Seattle ordering the city to not clear homeless encampments on Seattle school property. And how they can, I would think the number one responsibility of every member of that school board and every member of the Seattle School District, their absolute top job, even above the education of our children, is the safety of our children. And what is your take? What have you figured out as to why they would endanger kids by mandating that the encampment stays on ground?
Well, they're putting their political aspirations ahead of our children's safety, that's for sure. I think a couple of them want to run, or one of them has run for Seattle City Council. I think another one wants to, too. And they're trying to ingratiate themselves with some very extreme people out there in order to make themselves appealing Seattle City Council candidates, but they're just disregarding the safety and well-being of our students while they're doing that. It's awful. And, another point is that the city would probably take care of one of these encampments, right, when they get to be too dangerous. But the school board's now saying, no, we'll just let this grow to be even more dangerous than anything Seattle has ever seen. It's fine. We'll take care of this, even though they have no budget to do this and they've got no experience or any capability to do this. So it's just very troubling as a parent.
And I know what you said about the political aspirations is true. I've talked about that in the past myself. I don't know these people personally, but I do think it's pretty easy to pass moral judgment on somebody if they put their political aspirations above the safety of children. And I don't have a kid at the school. I can't imagine what this is like for you as a dad.
Oh, yeah. Very concerned and very worried about it. But I am terrified about our school board. And one of the reasons why, because they're a bunch of bullies. They had one really good school board member there, Eden Mack, super smart. She was going to reopen our school safely, and they just drove her off the school board. Okay, so now we're trying to do this pandemic and how terrible their judgment is. So I'm not just worried about the encampment and what's going on there, but that I've got these insane people running the schools and that they're going to, botch this pandemic reopening and a bunch of kids or teachers are going to get sick. I just, feel very frustrated with the whole situation.
Yeah, and there is one member of that school board named Chandra Hampson who is a radical activist and nothing else. But so as a parent, your main responsibility is the safety of your children. So yes. How long do you stay? How long do you stay in the city? How long do you stay in the Seattle schools if they are getting this out of control?
I have to ask myself that every day. And it's a terrible feeling, right? To just wonder, are you a terrible parent for sending your children here? Are you being completely irresponsible? And I keep trying to figure that out. And, after yesterday's event, I feel bad. I don't know how much longer I can send my children here, and I feel bad. But on the other hand, I feel so much worse for the other children that go there, the families that have no idea that this is happening. No one else is strolling through that encampment seeing what's going on. So I really feel as much obligation as I have to my students, also to the other families that go there,
Well, yeah, and the thing that's particularly sickening about all of this is they always talk about how much they care about the kids who don't have as much opportunities, don't have as many finances. The families who have options, the families who have maybe more resources have mobility, and they can get out. And
yep.
They are leaving yes. the kids of the most need and who have the fewest options and choices in this dystopian nightmare. And again, the morality of the people who are making these decisions is absolutely shocking to me, Ra.
Yeah, it's terrible. So the majority of our minority students, the majority of our students are free and reduced lunch students, meaning they come from poor families. This wouldn't be happening in a richer neighborhood. They're just throwing these children that they, pretend to be looking out for right under the bus. In the name of equity, they're doing the least equitable thing possible, right? There's low-income housing right between the school and the low-income housing is this park. The kids from the low-income housing used to walk through the park every day to get to school. Now the gate is shut there. A parent found some of these kids just wandering around in the homeless encampment, calling their teacher saying, "Hey, I'm trying to get to school, but the gate's locked. Can somebody come down and unlock this gate?" I mean, it's insane.
So wait, they were trapped on the encampment side of the locked
yes.
fence?
Yes.
Jeez.
So they just closed this gate, right, to keep people safe so that nobody could come from the encampment into the school. But the students, this wasn't clear to them. So the middle schoolers started just last week. And so on Monday, they're trapped on the side of the gate. No one to let
Unbelievable.
in the encampment.
Hey, it is so important that there are parents like you who are willing to be there, be present, to put your eyes on the ground and your voice in the air and let people know what's really going on. I really appreciate you coming on with me this afternoon.
Hey, I really appreciate you having me on the show.